Hi guys, today I wanted to go over how to create a radially symmetrical design using just a paper towel or a napkin at home. If you have napkins that are just plain white napkins like this, they're probably your best bet because they're nice and thin and they're already folded for you. Or if you have paper towels, you can take your paper towel, fold it in half, and fold it in half again to create that same square, okay? We're also going to use either markers or watercolors or food coloring with a little bit of water added to them for this, and just make sure you have something to put underneath your napkin while you're working because you need to have the ink or the watercolors soak completely through and you don't want to get that on your table. Okay, let's get started. When you're doing the design, you can kind of just be random, or you can make it look like it's going from the center outward. I'm going to do that first with the markers because that's traditionally how I've done this project. And how to figure out where the middle is, kind of just look at the edges, the open part of your napkin. A lot of times there's ridges on it, if you can see along there, but you can also kind of start to unfold it, and I can see that this area here is all the outside. So right here is my center. So once I figure out where my center is, I kind of put it towards me, like it's pointing at me. And then I can use whatever markers. I have some Mr. Sketch and some Crayola markers here, but it doesn't really matter. The big trick here with using markers is that you don't try to draw across pressing hard or it can tear. So instead, if I wanted to create a line, I'm going to take my marker and press. And I want to kind of press hard because the goal is to get it to go all the way through so that it's on both sides. That way it seeps all the way through and it's hitting all the sides of your thing. If it doesn't go through, you probably need to slow down or maybe check to make sure your marker's not dried out. Or, just kind of press a little harder. So as I go, as soon as I finish with a color, I always take it and flip over to make sure it's going through. So I'm gonna use, I think, one of these guys. And then, I can kind of have fun with this. I can make some different lines. Like I'm gonna kind of make a dashed zigzag line here. Like that. And then I'm gonna check, and I can, my dog's talking to you. I'm gonna check and make sure that it's going through to the other side. And touch it up if it doesn't. That way I know it's all the way through. So that's why I kind of check each color before I lose track of where I'm at. So I keep going here. And if you want a line that you want to kind of draw a little bit, I'm going to go really slow and carefully go across the paper. So I'm just kind of dragging it super gentle across, but I'm going very slow to let the ink go through all the way to the other side. And then check the other side, and you can see there's a couple little spots there that didn't quite make it through. So I'm gonna go ahead and press that through. And you just keep doing that until you get all the way up to the top. And I'll kind of show you when I'm done. When these are dry, I'll open them up. But you wanna let the ink dry before you, and I know it's tempting to want to kind of open it and check it, but you want to let the ink dry before you open this at all, or it can tear the paper. You just kind of keep checking the front and the back, and the front and the back. So I'll finish that one up and I'll show you that at the end. And then as far as using the watercolors or your homemade watercolors with food coloring, I just grabbed food coloring like this. And I have these little cups, but I mean, honestly, you can find anything that'll hold a container. You could just, drinking cups or whatever, and then just added some water into them. And then if you have any sort of squeeze dropper, I've got these from school, but an eyedropper or anything, those are great. I'm gonna use that just to be quick, but you can also use a brush. So I'll kind of do both. So I'm gonna take this and just kind of squeeze in and let that drip down onto my paper. And again, you want to make sure it's going all the way through. So this is a really heavy napkin, so it's not going all the way through. So I'm going to kind of push it down. Okay, that's the one thing about the eyedropper that doesn't work as good as the brush, which I'll use here in a second so you can see both. Because I have to kind of force it down there by poking it a little bit. If you have less, we just have really thick paper towels right now. If you have less thick paper towels, it'll actually work a little bit better. All right, so now I'm gonna use a brush and kind of do that same idea. And this time I think I'm gonna kind of make a spot there, and I'm just gonna press it down as I go. Now, if you have actual watercolors, I'm going to grab these real quick. You can use those as well. Shh. Okay, now that my dog's done barking, we can finish up. School, it's a choo-choo train. At home, it's a dog barking. Okay, so if you have actual watercolors, you can also use those. Just make sure you have lots of water on your brush. Kind of dip those in. And again, kind of press to make sure it's going all the way through. Lots of water. If it's just the paint, it really won't sink through like that. And if it feels like it's not going through, you can even just kind of add a little water to it just to kind of get it to push through. Okay, and then you would just keep doing that until you've got it totally filled up the way that you want it to look. And let it dry. That's the key that you got to remember, is you've got to just let it dry. And you could have fun with it. You can put colors on top of colors. Just be careful. We talked about every color mixed together is not a rainbow. It'll end up turning brown or black on you. So be careful about, you know, how much you're putting on top of each other. But if I put a green dot right on top of my yellow there, it's going to go through and that's going to look pretty. Okay, so when these are done and they're dry, I'll open them up and show you what they look like. Okay guys, here is the big reveal of the finished project. So here's the one that I did with marker. And after you open it, you've got that there. And here is the, still a little wet, but other one that I did with the watercolors and the food coloring. There, very cool, right? I hope you guys have fun with this, and I can't wait to see what you do on your projects for this on Artsonia.